I've been doom scrolling all day and I am really tired, but we're going to film a video. I'm going to talk about the games and game series that I'm just like a little intimidated to start, but I still want to play them. Let me know if you can relate to this, but I just see so many people love so many different game series and I want to start playing them, but they're either like so many entries in the series or I don't know, I get intimidated by the fan bases. So these are games that I want to play, game series that I want to play, but I'm just a little nervous to start. But hopefully I will put some time and energy into kind of researching which ones I should start with, or just ways to approach these series, because some of them are a little difficult to get into, I think, in my opinion. Coming from an outside perspective, I think they're a little bit difficult to get into. Or if they're not difficult to get into, I'm just like, I'm scared to start like an entire series, you know? Like maybe I'll start with one, but like what if I hate it? What if I waste my time? But I don't know, but I doom scrolled all day. So if I doom scroll all day, I could have used that time to play games. And this is my cycle. I doom scroll all day and I go, I could have used that time to play games and do something productive and actually do something entertaining. Instead, I just sat on my phone and now I feel like garbage. When I could have played one of these games, I could have started one of these series, but I didn't. Ugh, okay. This might seem silly, but I think the gamers that get it, they'll get it. Like if you relate, this one's for you. But if you don't relate and you're like, these games aren't hard to get into, nah. All right, go, bye, see you later. But whether it's just like a really overwhelming long game that I'm gonna have to sink hundreds of hours into just to roll credits, or like a series with a million different entries and then spin-offs, like I can't even think about it. The first game on my list is Fire Emblem. It's just a lot of these game series are just game series that I want to try because I've heard so many good things about, and they have such dedicated fan bases. And every time I watch a little video on YouTube about game collecting or game hauls, they're always talking about freaking Fire Emblem. I've never played a Fire Emblem game, but I've heard so many people recommend Fire Emblem to me. There are just so many different ones, and I really know nothing about the series. Like I don't know what the plot is, and I want to get into it, and I don't know where to start. And it's just intimidating. It's intimidating to get into a series that's so beloved by so many people, and that I'm sure so many people have different opinions about. Like I'm sure that some people would argue that I should start with one game as opposed to another, and I don't want to start with like the worst game, you know? It's just a lot, and a lot of these games and game franchises are like that, where I don't want to start with the wrong one, but I also don't want to keep telling myself that I have to find the right game to start with, and I should just do whatever I want and just enjoy my experience with it regardless. I don't know. It's complicated, but I feel like being the person that I am, having a 3DS and having a Switch, I should at least try one Fire Emblem game. If I go my entire life, my gaming bucket list needs to include at least one Fire Emblem game so that I can at least say that I tried the series and I tried that game style just to see if I like it. And if I do like it, then I can play more. But if I don't like it, at least I gave it a shot, you know? Like I don't want to live my life being like, oh man, I should have tried that game. And I didn't. Instead, I just doom scrolled on a Monday instead of doing things that would actually cause me happiness. Crazy. Okay, the next one is the one that I'm probably most likely to start playing soon. I really want to play a Final Fantasy game. I just don't know where to start. There are a lot of Final Fantasy games. I've already kind of looked into it, but I got a little confused already. I'm a little intimidated by it. One, because the characters look so freaking cool. The characters look so cool and kind of hot, and I'm like, I'm a little intimidated by it. I'm sorry to say it. I'm a little intimidated when the characters look so cool. The way I know Final Fantasy, the games aren't necessarily connected. Like you can kind of play one and not play the others. That's what I've heard online. If I'm wrong, please tell me, please correct me. But I think you can play like them separately and you don't have to play them in any specific order because it's an anthology. But I really, every time I've seen clips of Final Fantasy, I just get really excited. I'm like, I want to be a part of the hype of Final Fantasy. Like I want to get it. I want to see a Final Fantasy video or meme or somebody stream it and be like, hey, I know what's going on here. I want to be a part of the community. I think being a part of little gaming communities is really fun, and I just want to understand the hype because so many people love it. So many people love the characters, and I love the cosplayers and stuff, and I want to be a part of it. Yeah, I just want to jump on the bandwagon, but I don't know. I'm nervous to make that commitment, and I'm a little intimidated by the amount of games and which one to start with and which one's the best one to start with. And then should I start a physical media collection for it? Should I get into it? I just don't know where to start. I don't know where to go, and it's intimidating to just be like, hey, here are these 10 games or however many games are in this franchise. I don't actually know. I'm just whipping out a number out of my head. Here are all these games, all these Final Fantasy games. Don't they look scrumptious? Which one do you want? It's like someone gave you a bunch of plates of dinner and they're like, each one is really good and you can have all of them. Which one are you starting with? And you're like, oh, I don't know. You ask one person and they'll say, try that one first. And then someone else will tell you to try a different one first. At the end of the day, it's my gaming experience and I should just pick the one that appeals to me the most. But at the same time, I really value other people's opinions when it comes to games, especially such a highly loved franchise. I would value someone's opinion on which one I should start with, but I know people they'll have opinions. Very strong ones, and maybe sometimes mean ones. Anyway, sorry for yapping. I would really love to play a Final Fantasy game. So if you see me next month buying a bunch of Final Fantasy games, this is kind of why. I'm recording this video because I have an interest in these games briefly, especially Final Fantasy, and trying them. I'm trying to think. I do have 2 Final Fantasy games currently in my collection because my friend let me borrow them. So I have 2. I just don't know if they're the right ones to start with or if it even matters, or I don't know. We have Final Fantasy X2, and I'm pretty sure this one is a sequel. 10, Final Fantasy X. We have Final Fantasy X-2, X2. It's the sequel to 10, I think, right? So I shouldn't play this one first? I don't know. See, I don't really understand. But it looks fun, it looks cool, and it's on the PS2, and I want to try it. And then this one is, I think, also a spin-off. It's the Dirge of Cerberus? Final Fantasy VII. Are the characters the same? This is after, okay. This is also a sequel. These are both sequels. So I shouldn't play these ones first? See, I don't know. This is why I'm intimidated because I have these. Do I start with these? Do I play something else? I don't know, help, okay? The third series that I want to play but I'm a little intimidated by is ironically not really an intimidating game. I don't think it's intimidating, but I think this series as a whole and getting into it and having to pick one game to start with out of the series is intimidating is the Professor Layton series. I feel like this is a series that I really would have liked as a kid, and this whole issue with being intimidated with starting this series would have been solved if I had just played one as a kid. Because when you're a kid, you're kind of just given the most recent game. You're kind of just given a series wherever it is in the series, unless you have an older sibling or an older parent, or a parent that will teach you these things. But as a kid, I was just given games randomly. I think I played Jack 2 on the PS2. I started in the middle of that and I didn't go anywhere with it. I didn't start in the beginning. You kind of just get put somewhere. And I feel like if I was a kid and I had started with one of the games, I probably would have wanted to continue those games as an adult because it would have had that nostalgia ping. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, man, am I still gonna like these games even though I didn't play them as a kid? And playing them as an adult with a fresh perspective, will it be the same? Will it still be enjoyable? And I'm a little nervous about that because I don't want to waste my time or my money on a game that I'm not really gonna like. Even though that's not I don't know, I'd rather try something and waste a little bit of time or a little bit of money and not finish it than not give myself the experience of trying it at all. But it's still a little intimidating because I know people really love this series. A lot of Nintendo fans really love these games because I watched Nintendo videos on YouTube. I've watched hauls and I've watched collections and I've watched people talk about these games, and especially because I think they came out with a little like a Switch version of these games, I think. I know a lot of people love these games and then they're a little bit critical over newer versions of them. And again, I just don't know where to start. Like if I had started when I was a kid, I wouldn't have had this problem because I would have already had like an idea of what the series is like. But as an adult, I think maybe it's because my frontal lobe is developed that I'm just nervous about everything. I'm like, oh, but I don't want to take this risk. I don't want to take this chance on something. But I also do because I just want myself to be able to try games freely and see what I like and experience different stories. I don't know. But I like mysteries and I like cute little narratives and stories. So I feel like I'm gonna like it. I just don't know where to start. Bottom line, end of story. I just don't know which one to start with. Again, all of these games, I'm like, where do I start? Someone tell me. Someone give me like a little, here's the game that you should play in this order and why. Or just tell me that I can play it however I want and it won't matter. Either or, like that's fine. If you're like, pick up any of them and you'll probably enjoy it, then I'll do so. I'll just pick one at random. That's what I did with freaking Luigi's Mansion. I picked out Luigi's Mansion 2 on the 3DS or it was Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, the second one, and everyone was like, no, that's not really that great. And I'm like, oh, this is what I get for just picking a random one in the series and just being like, this one looks fine to me. But I don't know, maybe that just makes my gaming experience unique and I shouldn't care what other people think. There's two different things going on here. And I just needed someone to talk to be honest with you. I just needed to sit down and I just need to process these thoughts in my head, and this is how I'm doing it, and this outlet is just me being like, do I want to play this game? I just need you to give me advice or just hang out with me and be as confused as me because I'm also confused every day. Anyway, the fourth game series that's very similar to Professor Layton, kind of in the same vein as Professor Layton, is Ace Attorney. I had never played an Ace Attorney game and I'm just a little intimidated to start it because so many people love that series so much. It's praised. Everyone loves them, I think, except for like maybe some of the most recent ones. I feel like there are definitely ones that people are like, yeah, that one wasn't that good. And then the ones that people love dearly, but I don't know if that's fueled from childhood nostalgia or not, and if I'll still like it. But I kind of want to give it a try regardless. And isn't there one where they're Professor Layton and Ace Attorney crossover? Because I would also play that, but I know that that probably shouldn't be my first one too, because if I'm playing that one for the first time, I don't care about either of those series yet, you know? And I wish I played it when I was younger, but I can't go back in time and play the game so that I can enjoy it differently as an adult. And I can't keep saying like, oh, I'll play it next year. I keep putting off trying new games and new game series because I'm just a little bit intimidated by them. Starting new games is a bit of a commitment. It's like a mental commitment, you know? You're trying a new game and you kind of have to put aside any other games that you've recently played to kind of focus on that story. At least for me, I feel like I can't play 10 different games because the moment I start playing another game, the moment I start playing one new game, the game that I was playing prior just kind of goes out the window, and I'm probably not going to finish it if I just start a new game, which is fine because I can stop playing games and not finish them. But I feel like I'd rather be present in the story and I want to be committed to it. So I want to play Ace Attorney. I think that would be a lot of fun, and I think it would be very, very silly and goofy. I just realized I had a stream going this whole time. You probably couldn't have even heard it, but it was bothering me. Yeah, I like the idea of visual novels and I like little puzzly challenge games, so I think this will be fun. And it's all about law, and oddly enough, I was kind of interested in law for a while in college, so I feel like I'm gonna really like this series, and I might get a little nerdy about it, but I just don't know where to start. I also feel a little bit pressured to start the series now because Capcom said that they were continuing Ace Attorney. They are gonna keep growing the series, so I feel like, I don't know, it just adds the pressure that I need to start playing it now, and I feel like I'm gonna rush into the games and just buy them and just rush into it, or buy them and not play them because I know that there are gonna be more coming out and I can kind of wait for the next one. I feel like that with a lot of games, whenever they announce the next addition to the series or a spin-off or a remaster, it gets in my head and I start thinking like, oh, I need to play this now, I need to play this now. And just like the idea of like, oh, do it now, like it's almost like an alarm, and I'm like, oh my god, I have to start it now, but I don't have to. I can wait till it's the right time, and that'll probably be a better gaming experience. And it doesn't have to be intimidating or scary. It could just be a game. It could just be a game that I enjoy because it's just a story and it's just a fun little time. It doesn't have to be crazy. I'm not a professional gamer. I don't have to like speedrun or anything or play it right when it comes out. I don't have to do that. It's not gonna be the end of the world, but sometimes it feels like it will be. But maybe that's just my anxiety talking. I don't know. Yeah, we don't have to talk about that. The next game that I would really like to play, this one's not a series. Well, it is a series, but I'm just specifically talking about this game, and I think we've talked about it before and how I haven't finished it, but is Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Yeah, I've never finished Skyrim, but in my defense, the idea of restarting it just feels very intimidating because I don't think I got too far into it, but just the idea of how much content there is and how loved it is and how so many people speak so highly about it and how much time I could potentially sink into this game is just a little intimidating to think about. Like, I love the idea of being immersed in this world and experiencing the story and finally finishing it, but I'm just freaking nervous about it. I'm just a little nervous about starting this game and like having that be what I play for the next however many months, because it'll probably take me that long. I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people, but that's just how my brain works, I guess. I definitely have a bit of nerves when it comes to playing the game, like playing a game at the right time. Like, I have a lot of unnecessary anxieties about this kind of stuff where I'm like, oh, like I can't play this game now. I have to wait. Like, I have to wait to play this game either on stream, or I have to make a video about it, or I have to wait till it's the right season to play this game. I don't know. I'm weird about that kind of stuff specifically. So I'm like, oh, like and now's not the right time to play Skyrim, but I'll play it another time. But I know that if I trust myself and I just play games when I want to play games, I'll get to eventually, and the time will be right to play that game, and then I'll finally finish it. Someone left a comment about how they were playing Red Dead Redemption and they got like 10 hours into it and then they stopped playing it, and then they came back to it a while later on PC because they stopped playing it because they didn't really like it after those 10 hours. But then they came back to it a while later on PC and then they actually really loved it. And I think games will kind of come to you at the right time, and sometimes you're not ready for that story in your life, and that's totally fine. I feel like Skyrim will come to me when I'm ready for it, and I'll be in that right stage of my life where I'm ready for that in-depth immersive story and world and to be like completely consumed by it, and that's gonna be fine, but I'm just intimidated by it right now, and that's also okay. God, she just keeps yapping. All right, the last one. The last game series that I really want to play, this is probably ranked number 2 on how likely I am to start it sooner rather than later. So first being Final Fantasy, and then this is my second one, is Silent Hill. I love the aesthetic of horror games on the PS2. PS2 horror games, for some reason, oh my god, I can eat that stuff up. I love watching videos about it. I love watching gameplay. I love watching the deep dive lore, seeing the screenshots, just thinking about it, thinking about the tropes and the themes and just the graphics. It gets me so excited. I love that. And I'm really excited for the new Silent Hill game, but I'd really love to play the entire series just because I think it's important in the world of horror gaming, and I love the idea of this older version of horror gaming. And so I want to try it, but one, there are a lot of games in the series. There are a lot of games and they range from different consoles, so that's a little intimidating too. Like, there are PlayStation ones, but then there's that one on the Wii, I think. Also, they're really freaking expensive if I want physical copies of them. And before someone tells me, you just get them, no. Well, I want physical copies of these games. Like, I want to play them the way that you would have played them years ago. Like, I want to get that experience of buying the physical disc and playing it on the PS2. Like, I feel like that is just the way that it was meant to be played, and that's the experience that I want to have on it. Sit down on my bed after popping the disc in on a rainy day and play freaking Silent Hill 2 on the PS2. I feel like that would just be so fun, but it's so expensive and it's going to be an investment if I want to buy these games physically. And eventually I would love to have that in my collection and be like, I finally own these games. Like, that would just feel so good to have that in my collection. That's not happening today, But I do own one Silent Hill game, and that's on Steam, and that's Silent Hill Homecoming. And that game, I don't think is a part of the main series. It doesn't have very good reviews. So why would I start with that one? But it's the only one I own, so it's accessible to me. So it sucks that the most accessible Silent Hill game to me right now is one that has such terrible reviews. But do I play it anyway just to play Silent Hill? Probably not. I mean, the Silent Hill 2 remake's coming out, but like, I don't know. I'd really, really love to play Silent Hill though. It just looks so good, and I want to know the characters. Like, I want to fully know their stories. Like, I can watch videos of other people playing it, but I want to experience it for myself. The soundtracks, the atmosphere and environment. I want to be there, man. I want to be there. Put me in. I don't know if this video will make any sense or have any sort of like flow to it. I'm sorry if this was the most chaotic video I've ever put out on this channel, but to me it makes sense, and that's all that matters, truly, that I just yap for a little while to you guys every week. So thank you for listening, if that counts for anything. I feel like playing intimidating games is a thing that a lot of us deal with. I know a lot of people come to me and they say, that game seems very difficult, and I go, it is difficult. Elden Ring, for example. I was super intimidated to play Elden Ring. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna play it. Like, I don't think that's for me. Like, that's not a game I would normally play. Everyone says it's really hard. I'm gonna be embarrassed. I don't know if I wanna try it at all, or like, you know, put that time into it. Like, time on this earth is precious, truly. Like, at one point, like, time, it doesn't exist. And then the other point is that, you know, we have a finite amount of time here, so the time that we do spend things in is valuable. Like, we spend so much time sleeping, we only have so much actual time to do activities, so playing the games that you want to play is important and not just wasting your time. So I should play games that are important to me and that grow, that give me personal growth. But I think Elden Ring was very rewarding because I was intimidated by it, and I still played it and I still finished it. So on one hand, I think it's important to play intimidating games, but at the same time, like, to have a conversation with yourself and be like, why is this game intimidating to me, and what can I do to kind of resolve that issue? And for me, one is, I'm like, oh, well, first of all, I want to play Final Fantasy the most, then Silent Hill, and what are my barriers to get into those games? Final Fantasy, I don't know where to start, and I'm a little nervous to play like these spin-off ones. So, okay, which spin-off games do I have? Which ones come before that? So I'll start with those and then play the ones that are most accessible to me. And also, like, there are so many resources out there that I can look into. We can do a whole video about game intimidation because I feel like it's a topic that doesn't get talked a lot about. So we'll talk about it more on another point when I can formulate my thoughts a little bit better. But for now, you could just hear me yap about games and not have full sentences about these games. God. Anyway, what games are you a little nervous to play, or game series that you're intimidated by, whether they are really expensive and you want to collect them, or they have a lot of entries in them and you just don't know where to start? Because same, it's normal, it's okay to talk about it. And if you're gonna come at me in the comments and call me a silly goose gamer, which I am, but for not wanting to like immediately just jump into a game willy-nilly, not everyone has the same experience as you. So maybe check yourself. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what game series you're a little intimidated by, or what game series you were intimidated by but you got through it and now you love the game. Inspire me. If I mention a game series that you have an opinion on and you would like to just nicely and friendly, is that a word? Nicely and kindly tell me which one you think I should start with, I would love that advice. I would love that. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, a great night, a great day. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.